Welcome back to Worldwide TV as our Destination Auburn series continues. I am your host, Kayla Blakesley, alongside my co-host and my boss, John Cruz. He is an auctioneer and owner at Worldwide Auctioneers. Glad we're back, John.
I am thrilled that we're back, and as we go through this series, I've been looking forward to this one, and I think it might be everybody's favorite.
One of the favorites for sure, because we've got some excellent friends that are joining us, father-son duo. We've got Glenn and Cameron, and they are here with us today because we are talking about the Auburn Korn-Duesenberg Club, the ACD Club, which I think is much easier to say, so we're going to stick with that. But gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
I think we have to start, obviously, John, with why did you both join the club?
Well, I joined the ACD Club in 1981 because I had already wasted 20 years in the hobby without being a member. and I've never been sorry. Been a wonderful trip.
I don't math well, but Glenn, that's like, what, over 40 years?
Yes, 41 years.
And he's only 55 now. So.
Like I said, I don't math well, so it makes sense to me. Why did you join?
I joined because I've been around it my whole life as a child, going to car shows, being around him in the garage, working on cars. And so it was one of those things where I kept hearing about it from him, and just one year decided to come, and I haven't quit. I've come every year since 2000, I think is the year.
You've never missed a year?
I missed 1 year, which was unfortunate because now I have to start that streak all over again. But yeah, he got me into it. I came, I loved it, and I don't know, 15 years later maybe, I bought my first ACD car. I bought an Auburn, a 35, and so now I'm really invested,
Well, you love it so much you became a board member, right?
Correct.
Now,
Correct.
what led you to doing that?
I was asked to do it. I mulled it over, and I really thought about it. And being a young member of the club, I say that in quotes because I'm not a young member in anything else that I do. But it was important to me because I feel like I have insights that I could bring to the club, and I wanted to be part of the direction that we're trying to head to. I wanted to be a part of that.
What is that direction?
For me, it's getting younger people involved.
Yeah.
It's getting people that have cars that don't necessarily know about the event to come. It's involvement, it's awareness, it's the perpetuation of the club, if you will.
Now there's the ACD Club is really one of the earlier clubs in America, and I think the Labor Day reunion, as a result of the club starting, is one of the most special ongoing car club events in the nation. And one of the things that I like, you don't have to own an Auburn Korn-Duesenberg to be a club member.
I didn't know that.
So most of us, myself included, were members for quite a long time before getting a car. And I think a lot of clubs, the kind of unspoken thing is, well, you don't really get to be in until you have a car. So that barrier of entry we don't have here with the club. And I think that's pretty special because it's super welcoming, and there are a lot of kids and young people. There's some that we've all watched grow up around it. You've been around it for most of your life.
Sure.
And and maybe Glenn, you're the seasoned member of the group, but you've been around it the longest and watching it. What are the things that you think are the most valuable and the most enjoyable about the ACD Club?
Obviously, the most enjoyable thing for me is coming back and seeing all my friends. And I couldn't count them. It's amazing to me sometimes how many friends I have up here, and I could call on for information or guidance or parts or what have you.
Case in point, first thing this morning, his L29 was leaking some gas. Called a member that was here, came right over, and we took the carburetor apart twice, got it fixed, and now it's up and running. I don't know anywhere else you can do something like that. I don't know anywhere else you can just pick up a phone and someone that just happens to be in town can come and help you on the spot. That's part of why I like coming here. is that camaraderie, you know.
Glenn, you said something so special when we were talking off camera, to kind of the point of what you're saying. You said, yes, the cars are great, but the community is excellent.
The community is. I mean, my wife and I bought our first house in Auburn in 1992, and many of you will remember the house. It's the former barber shop. It's a one-room house, 17 by 19 feet. And we lived there for 15 years and discovered after 15 years that one room was too small for two people. So we bought a real home.
Well, now, Glenn, you might clarify, that's your Auburn house.
That is.
You don't reside year-round in Indiana.
No, we are here maybe 2 months out of the year. And then maybe Thanksgiving and other holidays.
Well, if you're watching this, what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, that Auburn, the club, the community is so special in your life that you choose to spend not just one weekend, but a little more time because of the car culture we've got here.
Yes. And the museum and all the museums are great, and they are ever changing, and it's always interesting to see the new galleries and exhibits that they have, and we have as many friends here in Auburn as we do in Missouri, I think.
I love that. Can I ask how the Auburn Cord-Duesenberg Club got started? Because it came first before Destination Auburn and everything that goes into it.
Yes. Harry Denhard, I believe it was 1954, is that correct?
Maybe 53.
He ran an ad in a Motor Trend magazine and basically just said, I want to start a club. I want to have like-minded people involved. And that's just how it happened. It was the tiniest little ad. And I've actually got in the issue that it was in, and a friend of mine blew it up to a much larger
so cool.
size just to kind of have it, you know, so you can see it. But that's how it happened. It started that year, and it's just gone on from there.
So the club started first, and then kind of developed the Auburn Cord-Duesenberg Festival, and then what has turned into Destination Auburn, right?
Yeah, and I think another important thing, because we use the term a lot, and it's frankly unique to Auburn, and that is the reunion. Mm-hmm. And it started when E.L. Cord ultimately left Auburn in '37, and the unbundling of his companies. The Auburn Automobile Company continued to service cars, but they ceased doing that there in the early 50s. And so the workers said, hey, let's have a reunion. And Labor Day weekend, you got an extra day off. That made sense. And then when Harry decided to do the club thing, he was kind of, hey, let's tack on to the workers' reunion. And so Auburn, historically, I think for all of us, it is a reunion. And it's not just once a year. It's more than once a year, which is not something that very many car culture places can say. It's pretty special.
Yeah.
Well, sure. And it's not, like you say, it's not just, the reunion is Labor Day weekend, but there's mini meets all along the way. You've got the Eastern Spring meet, the Citrus meet, the Can-Am, the West Coast meet. So anyone that has a car and is a member, anyone who doesn't have a car and is a member can go to any of those meets and have an experience. You know, there's one in Connorsville as well. There's many chances to get with club members and, you know, have fun with your car, no matter where you are in the country.
Okay.
Or in Canada or otherwise.
I want to ask a behind-the-scenes question. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm the host. Can you talk to us about how you judge the cars, what goes into that, what you're looking for, how all that works?
So basically, some of the cars have what is called a standard in place, which basically means that all of those cars are judged to that standard. So it makes it a little easier for the judges to say, well, you know, these items are what we're looking for, so that's what we're going to judge on. The other cars that don't have standards, the judges are basically experts in the field of that car. For instance, L29 or the 81012 or the 810 or 812 chord. They know what it's supposed to be, and they know what the ins and outs are of it. So they can say, well, I know that part wasn't painted, or I know that part was chrome, or whatever. So that's where their expertise come in. And so it's a little give and take in that sense, because those expert judges have developed the standards for the cars that have the standards. So it's as exacting of a judging event as you can get, in my opinion.
Obviously, Auburn has stood the test of time as we're talking about it here. But for someone who's never been here, or maybe it's been 10, 12, 15 years since they've been to Auburn, what would you say is the number one reason they've got to come? Glenn, I want to hear from you first, because you've been kind of quiet.
You know, I have 4 couples that come annually to Auburn, and they don't have a car. They don't know anything about Auburns or Accords or Duesenbergs, except that I have them. And they come just because they have a good time here.
What about you, Cameron?
I would say that's accurately spoken. I would say that if you don't have a car and you don't have any knowledge of the cars, if you don't have any knowledge of anything surrounding this event, you come, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Because there's people that will say, hey, you, come here, let me show you this car, get in this car, let's go down the road in this car, or let me introduce you to this person who knows the ins and outs of the museum, or when's the best time to go over here. You're not going to be lost here. You can come not knowing one person, and you will leave knowing 10 to 15 people.
Well, John's going to be here, so you know you're going to have a darn good time. Really quick, gentlemen, before we let you guys go, if someone wants to get involved in the club, maybe be a member or just learn more, is there a way they can do that? Do you have resources for that?
Yes, you can go to the acdclub.org. That is for the club specifically. You can become a member there. There's a lot of resources there. There's great forums. People talk about cars. Any questions you ask, someone can answer, no matter what it is. You can come to a meet. You can come to this festival. You can go to the museum. I mean, it's very easy to find information on the club, the festival, and all things encompassing.
And I feel like you're pretty easy to spot if someone wants to ask you questions, right?
Come talk to me.
Well, you know, as we're just having this discussion, and we're talking about Destination Auburn, why would somebody want to be here? And, you know, it's people and cars, but the experience that you can have. And I have a blast with my wife and kids. We have tons of experiences around these cars. And I believe that Auburn is the clear #1 destination where you can have a real experience regardless of where you're at on the spectrum. I mean, a lot of these car events, if you're not rolling in with a big time car that's this, that, or the other, you don't get to get in. And yes, we're in the Midwest, so we got that Midwestern friendliness, but it's those experiences that, yes, we've got certification. Like the ACD Club certification is really the first super serious, legit certification program of any cars.
That's right.
And the judging is precise. The Saturday morning judge meet is epic. But also just observing the parade and seeing all the owners drive the cars, being able to get up close and personal with them, you know, downtown, but just hanging out. I mean, where could you go, as you described, Glenn, and have folks who can year after year after year have a great experience at the same time that somebody that owns a Model J or a one-off Auburn or Cord can do that together.
Right.
And I think that's just incredible.
Absolutely. You can come as a spectator. You can come as a friend. You can come as a family member. You can come as a car owner. You can come and see all of these cars anywhere you would like to in any capacity. At the museum, you can see them in the parade. You can see them on 9th Street hanging out where you can walk up to them with no ropes. So it's accessible.
Well, Cameron, I think we end there because I don't think we could have said it better than what you just said. And as always, if you want to learn more about Destination Auburn and all the events John was just talking about, Cameron was just talking about, log online to destinationauburn.com. You can also purchase your tickets there for the expanded 3-day auction being put on by Worldwide Auctioneers. Until then, destinationauburn.com.